Everyone wants success, everyone wants peace, everyone wants financial freedom, meaningful relationships, confidence, respect, and a life filled with purpose. Yet only a small number of people consistently achieve these things. The difference is rarely intelligence, luck, or talent. The difference lies in the way they think, the habits they cultivate, and the person they choose to become every single day. Many people spend years chasing opportunities while ignoring the greatest opportunity they already possess, the ability to transform themselves. They believe that once life changes, they will become stronger. But reality works in the opposite direction. When you become stronger, life begins to change around you. There is a simple truth that many overlook. The world responds differently to someone who has mastered themselves. Confidence attracts opportunities. Discipline builds trust. Patience creates wisdom. Integrity opens doors that force never can. Every meaningful achievement begins long before the visible reward appears. It begins in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when you choose growth over comfort and purpose over distraction. The 7 ways you are about to learn are not shortcuts or tricks for instant success. They are timeless principles that have guided disciplined individuals across generations. They teach you how to think clearly, act intentionally, overcome setbacks, and create a life built on lasting fulfillment rather than temporary excitement. As you listen, do not simply ask yourself how these ideas can change your circumstances. Ask a deeper question. Who must I become to naturally attract the life I desire? Because once that question is answered honestly, everything else begins to fall into place. Success is not something you chase forever. It gradually becomes something you grow into. The journey starts now. Most people never achieve what they truly want because they have never taken the time to define it with complete honesty. They move through life carrying borrowed ambitions, borrowed opinions, and borrowed definitions of success. They chase careers because society praises them. They pursue relationships because they fear loneliness. They collect possessions because they believe ownership equals happiness. Yet after years of effort, they often arrive at a destination that feels strangely empty, not because they failed, but because they spent their energy climbing the wrong mountain. Before you ask how to get everything you want in life, you must first ask a much more important question. Do you actually know what you want? The mind is incredibly powerful, but it cannot guide you toward a destination that has never been clearly chosen. Imagine boarding a train without knowing where you intend to go. Every stop would seem confusing. Every delay would feel frustrating. Every passenger would appear to know something you do not. Life works the same way. Without clarity, every opportunity becomes a distraction. Every opinion becomes influential, and every challenge feels like proof that you are lost. Many people mistake wishing for wanting. They say they want success, but they cannot explain what success means to them. They say they want peace, but they continue feeding their minds with conflict. They say they want confidence, but every decision is controlled by fear of judgment. A vague desire creates vague action, and vague action produces vague results. Clarity transforms intention into direction. This is why silence is so valuable. In silence, you begin to hear your own thoughts instead of the endless noise of the world. Every day, countless voices compete for your attention. Social media tells you who to become. Advertisements tell you what to buy. Strangers tell you how to live. Friends may unintentionally project their own fears onto your future. If you spend all your time listening outward, you will never discover the wisdom waiting inside you. Spend time alone without distractions. Sit with a notebook. Ask yourself difficult questions. What kind of life would make you proud 20 years from now? What work gives you energy instead of draining it? What values are you unwilling to compromise? What habits are quietly destroying your potential? These questions are uncomfortable because they demand honesty instead of excuses. Yet honest answers create extraordinary lives. Clarity is not simply knowing what you want. It is also understanding why you want it. Two people may have the same goal of becoming financially successful. One wants wealth to impress others. The other wants financial freedom to care for family, support meaningful causes, and live without constant anxiety. Outwardly, the goal appears identical. Inwardly, the motivation changes everything. One person will eventually feel empty because external validation never lasts. The other remains committed because purpose is stronger than ego. When your reasons are clear, your discipline becomes stronger. Every early morning feels meaningful. Every sacrifice feels worthwhile. Every obstacle becomes part of the journey instead of a reason to quit. A person with weak reasons easily abandons strong dreams. A person with strong reasons finds strength even on difficult days. You must also understand that clarity evolves through action. Many people delay their lives while waiting for perfect certainty. They believe they must have every answer before taking the first step. But life rarely works that way. You gain clarity by moving, learning, adjusting, and growing. Every experience teaches you something new about yourself. Every failure removes another illusion. Every success reveals another level of possibility. Think about an archer preparing to shoot an arrow. Before releasing it, the target must be visible. If the target keeps changing every few seconds, even the greatest archer cannot succeed. Your attention is the same. Every time you constantly change your priorities, because something newer or more exciting appears, your energy becomes scattered. Great achievements require sustained focus. The world rewards those who remain committed long enough to master one meaningful direction. Another obstacle to clarity is comparison. Comparison quietly steals your vision by convincing you that someone else's path should become your own. You begin measuring your progress against people whose circumstances, experiences, and purposes are completely different from yours. Instead of asking, "What is right for me?" you begin asking, "What are others doing?" This shift may seem small, but it changes the entire course of your life. Comparison creates confusion because it replaces inner guidance with external approval. There will always be someone richer, faster, stronger, or more accomplished. If your direction depends on comparison, your satisfaction will always remain out of reach. Real confidence comes from knowing that your life is guided by your principles, not by someone else's achievements. Remember that clarity requires courage. Once you discover what truly matters, you may have to disappoint people who expected you to live differently. You may have to leave familiar environments. You may have to abandon comfortable habits. You may have to say no to opportunities that look attractive but move you away from your purpose. Every meaningful yes requires many disciplined no's. Your life changes the moment your vision becomes stronger than your distractions. Every decision becomes simpler because you have a clear standard to follow. You stop chasing everything because you know exactly what deserves your attention. Your time becomes more valuable. Your energy becomes more intentional. Your confidence grows because each action is connected to a meaningful destination. Everything you desire begins with seeing clearly. Not seeing the future perfectly, but seeing yourself honestly. Once your vision is clear, your actions become aligned. When your actions become aligned, your habits become powerful. When your habits become powerful, your character transforms. And when your character transforms, the life you once dreamed about slowly becomes the life you are living. The path to getting everything you want does not begin with more effort. It begins with absolute clarity. Most people believe success begins with achieving a goal. They think that once they earn more money, gain recognition, build a successful business, or improve their circumstances, they will naturally become disciplined, confident, and emotionally strong. But this way of thinking places the reward before the work. In reality, every lasting achievement begins long before the result is visible. It begins with mastering yourself. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against difficult people, limited opportunities, or unfavorable conditions. It is against the version of yourself that constantly seeks comfort over growth. Every day, there is a quiet voice encouraging you to delay your responsibilities, avoid discomfort, blame circumstances, or settle for less than your potential. If that voice controls your actions, no amount of external success will ever bring lasting fulfillment. But when you learn to guide your own mind instead of being controlled by it, you become stronger than any obstacle life can place before you. Self-mastery is the ability to act according to your values rather than your emotions. Emotions are temporary. They rise and fall like waves. If you only work when you feel motivated, your progress will always be inconsistent. There will be days when enthusiasm disappears, confidence fades, and energy feels low. Those are the moments that reveal your true character. Anyone can move forward when life feels easy. The person who continues moving despite discomfort is the one who transforms. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom in disguise. It frees you from regret, from wasted potential, and from constantly depending on motivation. Imagine waking up each morning without having to negotiate with yourself about whether you should exercise, study, work, or improve. Your habits make the decision for you. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this today?" you simply begin. That is the power of discipline. It removes unnecessary conflict from your mind and replaces hesitation with action. Many people spend years trying to control the world around them while completely ignoring the world within them. They want others to respect them, yet they struggle to respect themselves. They seek peace from external situations while carrying constant inner chaos. They demand loyalty from others while failing to stay loyal to their own promises. Lasting change begins when you stop expecting the outside world to create the inner stability that only you can build. Emotional control is another essential part of mastering yourself. Life will never stop testing your patience. Someone will criticize you unfairly. Plans will fail. Opportunities will disappear. People you trust may disappoint you. If every external event determines your emotional state, you surrender your peace to circumstances you cannot control. Real strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to experience emotion without allowing it to dictate your decisions. When anger appears, observe it before reacting. When fear appears, recognize it without allowing it to stop your progress. When disappointment arrives, accept it as part of growth rather than proof that you should quit. Every emotion carries information, but not every emotion deserves authority over your actions. Wisdom comes from learning the difference. One of the greatest habits you can develop is keeping the promises you make to yourself. If you tell yourself you will wake up early, do it. If you promise to read, study, practice, or train, honor that commitment. Every fulfilled promise strengthens self-respect. Every broken promise weakens your confidence, even if no one else notices. Confidence is not created by positive thinking alone. It grows through repeated evidence that you can rely on yourself. Many people underestimate the power of small victories. They wait for dramatic transformation while ignoring the value of consistent improvement. Reading a few pages each day, exercising regularly, practicing a skill, saving money, learning something new, or spending a few moments reflecting in silence may seem insignificant. Yet these small actions accumulate over weeks, months, and years until they completely reshape your identity. Greatness is rarely built through one extraordinary effort. It is built through ordinary actions performed with extraordinary consistency. Patience is also part of self-mastery. Modern life encourages immediate gratification. People expect instant results, instant recognition, and instant success. But meaningful growth follows a different rhythm. A tree does not become tall overnight because someone wishes it to. Its roots must first grow deep enough to support its future height. Your character develops the same way. The invisible work you do today prepares you for opportunities that may not appear until much later. Comparison is another obstacle to mastering yourself. Looking at someone else's achievements can easily make you feel behind. But every person walks a different path with different challenges and different timing. Measuring your progress against others often steals the energy you should invest in your own improvement. Instead, compare yourself to the person you were yesterday. Ask whether you are becoming wiser, calmer, stronger, and more disciplined than before. That comparison leads to growth instead of frustration. Humility also plays an important role. Mastering yourself does not mean believing you know everything. It means remaining willing to learn, accepting correction without resentment, and understanding that growth never truly ends. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes valuable information. Every challenge becomes another opportunity to strengthen your character. As you continue this journey, remember that the person capable of achieving extraordinary things is not someone born with perfect circumstances. It is someone who has learned to lead themselves before trying to lead anything else. Your thoughts become your decisions. Your decisions become your habits. Your habits become your character. And your character ultimately shapes your destiny. When you master yourself, you no longer spend your life reacting to the world. You begin creating the life you desire with intention, patience, discipline, and unwavering commitment. That is where true success begins. Not in what you possess, but in who you become. Every person dreams of a life without obstacles. We imagine that if everything went according to plan, we would finally become successful, confident, and happy. But this belief is one of the greatest illusions that holds people back. The truth is that the strongest people are not those who avoided hardship. They are the ones who allowed hardship to educate them. Every obstacle carries a lesson, and every lesson carries the potential to transform you into someone wiser, calmer, and more capable than before. Think about the moments that shaped your life the most. They were probably not the easiest days. They were the moments when you experienced disappointment, failure, rejection, uncertainty, or loss. Those experiences forced you to think differently. They forced you to become stronger because remaining the same was no longer an option. Comfort rarely changes a person, but challenges almost always do. Many people see problems as signs that they are on the wrong path. The moment something becomes difficult, they stop. They complain about unfair circumstances, bad luck, or other people. Yet every meaningful journey includes resistance. A tree grows stronger because it withstands the wind. A diamond becomes valuable because it endures immense pressure. Likewise, your character develops through the challenges you choose to face instead of avoid. The question is never whether obstacles will appear. They certainly will. The real question is how you interpret them. If you see every setback as proof that you cannot succeed, your confidence will slowly disappear. But if you see every setback as a lesson preparing you for greater responsibility, your perspective changes completely. Suddenly, failure is no longer an enemy. It becomes a teacher. Imagine learning to walk as a child. You fell countless times, yet you never concluded that walking was impossible. Every fall taught your body something new about balance. You improved because you kept trying. Adults often forget this simple wisdom. We fail once in business, relationships, health, or personal goals, and we begin believing that we are incapable. But growth has always followed the same principle. Learn, adjust, continue. Every obstacle contains information. If a project fails, it teaches you about preparation. If someone betrays your trust, it teaches you about discernment. If you lose an opportunity, it teaches you the importance of readiness. If your plans fall apart, they teach you flexibility. Every painful experience leaves behind knowledge, but only if you are willing to study it instead of simply suffering through it. There is a difference between experiencing pain and learning from pain. Many people repeat the same mistakes because they only remember the emotion, not the lesson. They carry resentment instead of wisdom. They blame circumstances instead of improving themselves. Time alone does not make people wiser. Reflection does. When something difficult happens, ask yourself questions that move you forward. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this experience trying to teach me? Instead of asking, who is responsible? Ask, what can I improve? These questions shift your attention away from helplessness and toward growth. The moment you become curious instead of bitter, you begin transforming adversity into strength. Obstacles also reveal parts of yourself that comfort never exposes. Under pressure, you discover your patience, your fears, your habits, your discipline, and your true priorities. These discoveries are valuable because you cannot improve what you refuse to see. Difficulty acts like a mirror, showing you where growth is needed. Sometimes the greatest obstacle is not external but internal. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, procrastination, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs can quietly prevent you from reaching your potential. These invisible barriers are often more powerful than financial limitations or difficult circumstances. When you overcome the battle within yourself, the challenges outside become much easier to face. Remember that progress is rarely linear. Some days you will feel unstoppable. Other days you may question everything. Both experiences are part of the journey. Do not judge your future based on a temporary setback. Every person who achieved something meaningful experienced moments when success seemed impossible. What separated them from everyone else was not perfection, but persistence. Patience plays a vital role in this process. A lesson is not always understood immediately. Sometimes you only recognize the value of a difficult experience years later. The rejection that once broke your heart may have protected you from the wrong path. The failure that embarrassed you may have taught the skills that later led to success. Life often makes sense only when viewed in retrospect. Gratitude can also transform the way you face obstacles. This does not mean pretending that pain is enjoyable. It means recognizing that even difficult experiences contribute to your development. Gratitude allows you to focus on growth instead of defeat. It reminds you that every challenge you survive leaves you stronger than before. Do not measure your life by the number of obstacles you encounter. Measure it by the wisdom you gain from overcoming them. The strongest individuals are not those who never struggle. They are those who refuse to let struggle define them. They keep learning, adapting, and moving forward with greater understanding after every challenge. Your greatest victories will not come because life became easier. They will come because you became wiser. Every obstacle you face today is preparing you for responsibilities you cannot yet imagine. Accept the lesson, strengthen your character, and continue walking forward. One day, you will look back and realize that what once appeared to be your greatest obstacle was actually the path that led you to everything you were meant to become. Many people delay action because they believe they need perfect conditions before they begin. They wait until they feel more confident, more motivated, more prepared, or until life becomes easier. But if you study people who consistently accomplish meaningful goals, you will notice something different. They do not wait for ideal circumstances. They understand that progress is built through ordinary actions repeated over a long period of time. They know that success is rarely the result of one extraordinary moment. It is the result of countless small decisions that seem insignificant on their own, but become powerful when accumulated over months and years. One of the greatest mistakes people make is becoming obsessed with immediate results. They start exercising and expect visible changes within a week. They begin learning a skill and become frustrated because they are not experts after a month. They launch a business and expect instant recognition. When reality does not match their expectations, they lose motivation. They assume their efforts are not working, when in truth, they have simply not given those efforts enough time to produce visible outcomes. Nature teaches a different lesson. A seed does not become a tree overnight. Long before anyone sees branches reaching into the sky, roots are growing beneath the surface. During that invisible stage, the seed appears unchanged. Yet the most important work is taking place where no one can see it. Human growth follows the same principle. Your discipline, knowledge, emotional strength, and character often develop quietly before they become visible in your achievements. This is why patience is not passive. Patience is active consistency. It is the willingness to continue doing what is right, even when there is no immediate reward. Every day you choose to improve yourself, you are strengthening an invisible foundation. Others may not notice it today, but eventually they will see the results that foundation creates. Imagine placing a single drop of water onto a stone. Nothing happens. Place another drop, then another, and still nothing seems to change. Yet after thousands of drops, the stone begins to wear away. It was never the power of one drop that created the change. It was the persistence of many. Your daily habits work exactly the same way. Reading 10 pages every day may not seem impressive. Practicing a skill for 1 hour may not feel life-changing. Saving a small amount consistently may appear insignificant, but over time, these small actions reshape your future in ways that dramatic bursts of effort never could. Consistency also builds trust within yourself. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your confidence. Every promise you break weakens it. Confidence is not created by repeating positive words in front of a mirror. It is created by proving to yourself, day after day, that your actions match your intentions. When you decide to wake up early and you actually do it, your mind begins to trust you. When you commit to learning and continue studying, even when you are tired, your self-respect grows. Eventually, discipline replaces motivation because your habits become part of your identity. There will be days when you feel inspired, and there will be days when you feel exhausted. If your actions depend entirely on your emotions, your progress will always be unstable. Feelings rise and fall like the weather. Discipline remains steady. A person who only works when motivated will always accomplish less than the person who works because they have committed to a purpose. The strongest individuals understand that they are not negotiating with their temporary emotions. They are honoring their long-term vision. Another important lesson is learning to separate effort from expectation. This does not mean giving up on goals. It means focusing your attention on what you can control instead of worrying endlessly about what you cannot. You can control your preparation, your attitude, your learning, and your daily actions. You cannot control every opportunity, every opinion, or every outcome. The moment you become attached to immediate results, anxiety begins to replace clarity. But when you focus entirely on doing your best today, your mind becomes calm, and your performance naturally improves. This way of thinking frees you from unnecessary frustration. Instead of asking, "Why haven't I succeeded yet?" ask, "Did I improve today?" Instead of measuring your worth by external rewards, measure it by the quality of your effort. Every day you become slightly wiser, slightly stronger, and slightly more disciplined. You are already succeeding, even if the world has not recognized it yet. Remember that lasting achievements often arrive quietly. There is rarely a dramatic moment when life suddenly changes forever. More often, change is so gradual that you barely notice it while it is happening. Then one day, you look back and realize you have become someone completely different from the person you once were. Your thinking has matured, your habits have improved, your confidence has deepened. Opportunities that once seemed impossible now feel natural because you have grown into the kind of person who can handle them. Do not underestimate the value of one honest day of focused effort. One day becomes 1 week, 1 week becomes 1 month, 1 month becomes 1 year. Eventually, people call your success extraordinary, but they only see the destination. They do not see the thousands of ordinary moments where you chose persistence instead of excuses, action instead of hesitation, and growth instead of comfort. Life rewards those who continue moving forward even when progress feels invisible. The person who keeps planting, learning, practicing, serving, and improving without demanding immediate rewards will eventually reach places that impatient people never will. Keep your attention on today's actions. Trust the process of steady improvement and allow time to do what only time can do. The future is not built in a single breakthrough. It is built through countless faithful steps taken with patience, consistency, and unwavering commitment. The quality of your life is deeply influenced by the quality of the people you surround yourself with. Many believe success is achieved alone, but almost every meaningful opportunity comes through another human being. A recommendation, a partnership, a mentor, a loyal friend, a supportive family member, or even a stranger who notices your character can become the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. That is why learning how to build relationships based on value and integrity is not just a social skill, it is a life skill. Too many people approach relationships with the question, what can I gain? This mindset creates weak connections because people naturally sense when they are being treated as tools rather than as human beings. Relationships built on selfish intentions eventually collapse because they are based on taking rather than giving. Instead, ask yourself a different question. How can I become someone whose presence improves the lives of others? That single shift changes everything. Value is not measured only by money, status, or influence. Value is found in reliability. It is found in kindness. It is found in honesty, encouragement, wisdom, and consistency. If people know they can depend on your word, they begin to trust you. If they trust you, they remember you. And when opportunities arise, they naturally think of you first. Integrity is what protects that trust. It means doing the right thing even when nobody is watching. It means refusing to compromise your principles for temporary rewards. Many people sacrifice their reputation for quick success, but they soon discover that trust is far more difficult to rebuild than wealth. A person with integrity may face slower progress at times, but they build a foundation that lasts for decades. Imagine two individuals with equal talent. One constantly exaggerates achievements, makes promises they cannot keep, and changes their values whenever it benefits them. The other speaks honestly, fulfills commitments, admits mistakes, and treats everyone with respect, regardless of status. Over time, who will people continue to recommend? The answer is obvious. Character always outlives talent. This does not mean you should try to please everyone. Trying to earn everyone's approval often leads to losing yourself. Integrity requires courage. Sometimes it means saying no when everyone else says yes. Sometimes it means walking away from situations that conflict with your values. Respect earned through honesty is far more valuable than popularity gained through pretending. Learn to listen more than you speak. Most people are waiting for their turn to talk instead of truly understanding the person in front of them. Genuine listening creates connection because it makes others feel respected. When someone feels heard, they are more likely to trust you. Listening also allows you to learn from experiences beyond your own. Every person carries knowledge that you do not possess. Humility is another powerful form of value. A humble person is always learning. They are not afraid to admit they do not know everything. Pride closes the mind, but humility keeps it open. When you remain teachable, every conversation becomes an opportunity to grow. Do not underestimate the power of small acts of kindness. Holding a promise, arriving on time, expressing gratitude, encouraging someone who is struggling, or offering help without expecting anything in return may seem insignificant in the moment. Yet these small actions accumulate over years and become your reputation. People rarely remember grand speeches, but they always remember how you made them feel. Be careful about the energy you bring into every interaction. If you constantly complain, criticize, gossip, or spread negativity, people may tolerate your presence, but they will rarely seek it. On the other hand, if you bring calmness, encouragement, and thoughtful solutions, Your presence becomes valuable. People naturally gravitate toward those who help them become better versions of themselves. Another important lesson is to celebrate the success of others without jealousy. Someone else's achievement does not reduce your potential. Envy creates distance, while genuine support strengthens relationships. When you sincerely rejoice in another person's growth, you build trust and remove the poison of comparison from your own heart. Never burn bridges unnecessarily. Even when disagreements happen, choose respect over revenge. Life has a surprising way of bringing people back into your path. The person you overlook today may become the person who opens an important door tomorrow. Leave every relationship with dignity whenever possible. At the same time, choose your own relationships wisely. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, energy, or trust. Integrity also means protecting your peace. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, who hold you accountable, who celebrate your victories without envy, and who encourage you to become wiser rather than weaker. The people closest to you quietly shape your thoughts, habits, and future. Remember that influence is not created by demanding attention. It is created through consistent character. A tree does not announce that it bears fruit. People simply come because the fruit is there. Likewise, when you consistently become a person of integrity, discipline, compassion, and wisdom, opportunities begin to find you. Your reputation speaks before you enter the room. In the end, everything you truly want in life cannot be separated from the kind of person you become. Wealth may open a door, but integrity keeps it open. Talent may create an opportunity, but character sustains it. Knowledge may earn admiration, but kindness earns loyalty. If you dedicate yourself to becoming someone who gives more value than they take, who keeps their word, who remains humble in success and graceful in failure, you will discover that many of life's greatest opportunities arrive not through force, but through the trust, respect, and goodwill you have patiently built over time. Many people believe that achieving the life they desire is simply a matter of finding the right opportunity, meeting the right people, or waiting for the perfect moment. They spend years searching outside themselves, hoping that something will eventually change. But the greatest transformation never begins in the outside world. It begins within. Before life gives you greater responsibility, greater influence, or greater success, it quietly asks a simple question. Have you become the kind of person who can handle it? This is why lasting success is never an accident. It is the natural result of becoming someone who is prepared for it. Think about a tree. You only notice the branches, the leaves, and the fruit because they are visible. Yet everything depends on the roots hidden beneath the ground. If the roots are weak, no amount of sunlight can save the tree from falling during a storm. Human character works the same way. Your achievements are the visible part of your life, but your habits, beliefs, discipline, and mindset are the unseen roots supporting everything you accomplish. When your inner foundation becomes stronger, your external life naturally becomes stronger as well. Many people focus only on goals. They ask, how can I become wealthy? How can I become respected? How can I become successful? These are understandable questions, but they are incomplete. A wiser question is, what kind of person consistently earns these results? The answer shifts your attention away from chasing outcomes and toward building character. Instead of obsessing over what you want to have, you begin focusing on who you need to become. Imagine two people standing at the base of the same mountain. Both dream of reaching the summit. One constantly complains about the steep path, waits for perfect weather, and searches for shortcuts. The other quietly trains every day, strengthens their body, studies the route, and accepts that every difficult step is part of the journey. After enough time, both lives look completely different. The mountain did not favor one person over the other. It simply revealed who had prepared themselves for the climb. This is how life operates. Opportunities are often available to many people, but only those who have developed the necessary qualities are able to recognize and sustain them. A promotion requires responsibility. A healthy relationship requires emotional maturity. Financial success requires discipline. Leadership requires humility and courage. Every blessing carries a responsibility, and responsibility can only be carried by someone who has grown strong enough to bear it. One of the greatest mistakes people make is trying to appear successful instead of becoming successful. They chase external validation because it is immediate. They want recognition before mastery, applause before effort, and admiration before sacrifice. But appearances cannot replace substance. A beautiful building with a weak foundation eventually collapses. A person who builds genuine character, however, continues growing even when nobody is watching. Character is built during ordinary moments. It is built when you wake up even though you feel tired. It is built when you keep your word despite inconvenience. It is built when you remain calm during criticism instead of reacting emotionally. It is built when you choose honesty even though dishonesty seems easier. These decisions may seem insignificant, but together they shape the person you become. The world often celebrates dramatic moments of success, yet it rarely sees the thousands of quiet decisions that made those moments possible. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident individual once doubted themselves. Every disciplined person once struggled with inconsistency. Growth is not about becoming perfect overnight. It is about refusing to remain the same person year after year. There will be times when your progress feels invisible. You will work hard without immediate results. You will improve yourself while others seem to advance faster. During these moments, remember that nature never rushes. A seed does not become a mighty tree in a single season. It first develops roots where nobody can see them. That hidden preparation is what allows it to stand firm for decades. Your personal growth follows the same principle. Every lesson you learn, every habit you strengthen, and every challenge you overcome is preparing you for responsibilities you cannot yet imagine. Another important realization is that your identity influences your actions far more than your motivation. Motivation changes with emotions. Some mornings you feel inspired, other mornings you do not. Identity remains steady. When you truly believe you are someone who values discipline, honesty, patience, and continuous learning, your actions naturally begin reflecting those beliefs. Instead of forcing yourself to make good choices, those choices gradually become part of who you are. This transformation also changes how you respond to failure. Instead of viewing setbacks as proof that you are incapable, you begin seeing them as teachers. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you ask, "What is this experience trying to teach me?" That single shift turns every obstacle into an opportunity for growth. Every mistake becomes a lesson rather than a permanent label. As you continue becoming a better version of yourself, something remarkable begins to happen. Your standards rise. You stop settling for distractions that once consumed your attention. You become more careful with your time, more selective with your relationships, and more intentional with your energy. You no longer chase everything because you finally understand what truly matters. Eventually, people may say that you were fortunate or naturally gifted. They may only notice your achievements without recognizing the years of discipline, sacrifice, patience, and self-reflection that created them. Let them believe what they wish. You know the truth. Success was never built in a single moment. It was built through thousands of small decisions that shaped your character long before they shaped your circumstances. Remember this whenever you feel impatient. Do not ask life to give you more before you are ready. Instead, prepare yourself so thoroughly that when opportunity finally arrives, you do not have to become someone new to receive it. You are already that person. The life you desire is not waiting for luck. It is waiting for the version of you who has grown wise enough, disciplined enough, humble enough, and strong enough to carry it with gratitude and purpose.